Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to take you on a step-by-step walkthrough of how to write an informal letter. We are of course going to be following the normal writing process, which you should be getting used to by now. And here is the question we're going to be answering. It reads, an English-speaking friend wants to spend a 2-week holiday in your region and has written asking for information and advice. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, offer to find somewhere to stay, give advice about what to do, and give information about what clothes to bring. So, of course, what we need to do first is to analyze the question by identifying the topic, who we are writing to, and the keywords from the bullet points. And they are an English-speaking friend wants to spend a 2-week holiday in your region and has written asking you for information and advice. So they're obviously going to want some recommendations. Write a letter to your friend. So as we're writing to a friend, it's obviously going to be an informal letter. We need to offer to find. So we need to use language to offer. We need to give advice about what to do. So we need to think of some activities. And we need to give information about what clothes to bring. So we need to be writing about specific items of clothing. So that's what we need to be paying attention to as we answer our question. Now we need to come up with the ideas that we can use to answer these bullet points. So now for the ideas. The first bullet point, we've got to offer to find somewhere to stay. I'm just going to make this up and say that I know some good websites and that I know the best areas and how to get the best prices. So that's why I'm going to offer. So that's my bullet point for that one. Bullet point 2, well, I actually live in Thailand, so lots of people want to visit here, so I'm going to use my own experience here and just put islands, temples, national parks and museums as ideas of what visitors can do here, and that's based on real life. And then I'm going to give information about what clothes to bring. Well, in Thailand it completely depends what time of year and where you're going. So I'm going to put that as my bullet point. So very easy to come up with those ideas there. Obviously, I don't need to think of the structure that I'm going to use for my letter because I already know it. It's very simple. It's this one here that we've been looking at all the way through these videos. So I can immediately start the letter with Dear Steve. I've made up the name Steve as the name of my friend. And my purpose paragraph reads, I'm so happy to hear that you're thinking of coming to visit my part of the world. Here is some information you may find useful. So this time I've written 2 short sentences to express the purpose of my letter. And I'm going to cover the first bullet point using my ideas, and it's going to read, if you like, I can sort out your accommodation for you. I know all of the best websites and how to get good deals on them. To be honest, if you book it by yourself, you might end up staying in a poor location, as Bangkok can be a really confusing place for the first-time visitor. So there we go. I've offered to find somewhere to stay for them as the bullet point requests. Now I can move on to the second bullet point about what to do. Anyway, I have loads of great ideas about things you can do whilst you are here. First of all, you should definitely not miss the beautiful islands in the south of Thailand. They are spectacular. You can sunbathe, surf, scuba dive, or simply chill in the restaurants and watch the world go by. So I've kept a nice informal tone here and suggested the activities they might want to partake in. Finally, I need to talk about what clothes that they should bring. So I've written, I must mention the clothes that you need to bring though. If you travel to the north of the country, it can actually be quite chilly as it is quite mountainous. That means you will need at least one really warm jacket and even a woolly hat. No kidding. However, if you do decide just to hang out on the islands, then you can get away with flip-flops, shorts and t-shirts for your entire trip. Feel free to ask any specific questions. I look forward to hearing more about your plans. Best wishes, George. So, I've mentioned specific items of clothing, and I've given a little bit of advice about the geography of the country, and I've signed off the letter with a nice closing remark and with best wishes and just my first name. There's no need to add your surname in an informal letter. So there we go. That is how to write an informal letter. Let's have a look at how it all looks when it's put together. Let's just take a closer look at some of the language I've used in this letter. In red here, you can see words and phrases I've used that are informal in nature. So they help to maintain the informal tone throughout the letter. So we've got, I'm so happy to hear. Visit my part of the world. That's a very nice phrase. Visit my part of the world. If you like. Anyway, simply chill in the restaurants. Watch the world go by. It's quite chilly. Pretty mountainous means quite mountainous. No kidding. That's definitely a very informal expression. And hang out is definitely a very informal phrase as well. So they're the types of phrases you can use to ensure your letter is informal. You can also add phrasal verbs, as we've actually used 4 in this letter. We've used sort out, which just means to organize. End up, which just means to finish. And get away with, which here means it'll be okay if you just wear flip-flops. There won't be any problems. So you can get away with wearing flip-flops. And also hang out is actually a phrasal verb as well. So that's a tip on how to maintain an informal tone to your letter. I hope you found that useful. Let's just have a quick summary of some of the key points here. So make sure that you sign on and off your letter appropriately. Remember, we're aiming for 50 words per paragraph, and you can do that by adding details to the ideas you came up with. Make sure you try to use phrasal verbs and contractions in your letter to maintain an informal tone. Obviously, you need to use appropriate linking words as well so that your letter is coherent. And you need to choose appropriate words to ensure an informal tone as well, just as I showed you with the red and blue boxes there. And finally, simply remember to follow the plan. The plan works. I've been using this with students for many years now, and it basically guarantees that you will write a letter that scores highly in the IELTS test. So practice using this system and you will do really well and score highly on the test day.